Hey guys, recently I made this French onion soup, and while it mightn't win any beauty prizes, it's definitely what you want to be eating on those cold, rainy, wintry evenings. It's so warming and tasty. So you start off with a stale baguette and cut it into big crouton shapes. This baguette is quite narrow, so I'm cutting it at quite sharp angles so that it'll be quite big on the surface of the soup. You're then going to toast them in the oven in this oven-proof dish and drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil on both sides. Then put them into a cool oven about 160 degrees Celsius for 20 minutes, turning every 5 minutes. Then peel and halve about a kilo of brown onions before using the slicer attachment of your food processor to slice them all up. You can do this by hand if you want, but you should definitely invest in a pair of onion goggles because this would kill me. Then in a heavy base pan, add about 2 tablespoons of butter and a little drizzle of olive oil to stop it from burning and allow that to melt. So once that's melted, go ahead and add your onions. This is an awful lot of onions, but they will all cook down. And a little pinch of salt. The salt will draw out the water from the onions, which will then evaporate off and the onions will caramelize. This should take about 30 minutes on a medium heat before the onions go lightly brown and caramelized. Eventually you'll see that brown layer at the bottom of the pan, and at this stage you know that's a really good thing. Eventually that's going to dissolve into your soup and give loads of flavour. So after 30 minutes it'll look something like this, nice and brown, and you'll then add a glass of dry white wine. This is going to deglaze the bottom of the pan, getting up all those brown bits and dissolving them into the sauce, but make sure you just scrape away any bits that are slow to come loose. Next you add a tablespoon of flour and mix that in and cook it off for about 1 minute. Next you add a litre of beef stock. If you want to keep this vegetarian, just use vegetable stock. Followed by some fresh herbs. I'm using a sprig of rosemary and a few sprigs of thyme. I'm not taking the leaves off now. I think it's much easier to fish out the branches in the end than it is to take off each leaf before you cook it. Give it a quick stir before clamping on the lid and allowing it to simmer gently for about 20 minutes. As that's simmering, you take half a clove of garlic and rub it on both surfaces of each crouton. So once the soup has been simmering for 20 minutes, you give it a quick stir and taste and adjust for seasoning. Here I added about half a teaspoon of coarse ground pepper and half a teaspoon of sea salt flakes. Then I just took it off the heat and let it rest while I gratinated the croutons with the cheese. Traditionally, this is done by filling oven-proof soup bowls with the soup, adding the crouton, covering with grated Gruyere cheese, and putting it under the grill for 5 minutes until it's all melted and gratinated. But I hate the idea of serving someone a searing hot bowl. So I put a little bit of soup into one oven-proof bowl, followed by the 4 toasted croutons and the grated cheese. Quite a lot of it, and then you gratinate it under the grill for about 5 minutes. So once that's done, you plate up the soup in soup bowls that won't cause third-degree burns and add the croutons. Then just tuck in and enjoy and forget the cold and rain outside. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. And for the full recipe, check out my blog at www.rookiecook.org.